Now, don't get me wrong, my whole channel is about vulnerability and whatnot, but I feel like today is going to probably be one of my more vulnerable ones for sure. And it's regarding how I actually found my happiness, to be honest. And I mean, I've subtly gone through like bits and pieces that into how I've gotten to this point and to where I am now, to who I am now. But I don't really know if I've given a whole lot of the story about it. So let's rewind a little over a year ago. Let's say late January to early February 2024. That was probably one of, if not the lowest points in my life, honestly. Like, I think a lot of that time, I'd probably just come home from school and just cry a bunch, to be honest. Because I was just like, the headspace I was in was so terrible. And I just felt so set up for failure. And everything in my life, at least internally in my head, just felt genuinely horrible. And I think the biggest two factors that set this up and allowed me to, well, the factors didn't really allow me to do this. I allowed me to do this. Those factors were the fact that when I came into college, my freshman year, I believed that I had everything set up for myself. I thought I had a girl that was going to go nowhere. I thought I had a group of friends that were going to be there for me 100%, and I was going to see them all the time, just like I did in high school. And, you know, I was in a college that was like 10 minutes from my house, and everything was going to be great because I'd just be stuck in the same place that I've been in for the past 18 years of my life, you know? Like, what can get worse? I wasn't somebody who was super comfortable with being further away and didn't know what would happen if I was super further away. And I didn't want to take that risk. So you know what I did? I stayed put. And I stayed closed-minded as well. So we'll take that factor into accountability here. And then not only that, but part of this first factor that I just mentioned fell apart because that girl that I thought would be around, like, dipped on me within 3 weeks of my freshman year of college starting. And initially, like, you know, I was fine and everything was peachy, but throughout the course of the semester, I kind of just continued to sit on that and let that dwell in my mind for so long, and letting that sit on top of the fact that I was so closed-minded and was not willing to meet any new people and just be in my circle. Like, those two factors really just started to plummet my headspace, to be honest, especially considering how, with that first factor, jumping back to that, my high school friend group was kind of becoming a bit more distant. Thankfully now, everything's been sorted out and we all see each other pretty frequently. And I think it's also been a means of acceptance of, you know, we're not going to see each other as much as we did in high school, but we're still going to see each other a lot. But anyways, at freshman year of high school, where things weren't really figured out with all of us, we didn't really see each other much. And due to the fact that I didn't want to really meet any new people, I was in a pretty gnarly spot because I was pretty much alone 100% of the time. Regardless of the fact that I was still living at my house, I didn't really see my parents very much. Like, they were gone a lot of the time, and, you know, they were working and stuff like that, and their jobs made it so they didn't get back until very late in the day, which pretty much meant that throughout school, throughout the day, and in the period that I was home until they got back home, I was all by myself. And let me tell you, dude, that was such a miserable period of time. I think a lot of that time, especially to the period of time that I mentioned earlier on, like late January, early February, I was so fucking miserable, dude. Like, I used to come home from class and just cry and just be sad all the time. And it was just a miserable existence. But, like, fast forward a couple months, we get to about a year ago from now. And the mindset was slowly getting better. I slowly started to pick up some of the habits that I now do consistently, and I'm talking like every day, such as journaling and like sort of kind of skincare. I was starting to get into that kind of stuff, and more of reading and just like more self-improvement stuff, was trying to slowly isolate myself from social media, all those little things that really helped build me to where I am today. Like, I was kind of slowly starting to get into all of that, and my mindset was starting to shift, and, I was coming out of it, but I was still in a rough spot, because although I had picked up those habits, there was one thing that hadn't changed, and that was the mentality. Things that were going on in my brain. The things I was saying to myself, my self-talk. A lot of my life, everybody around me, actually, kind of described me as being a more negative person, of somebody who didn't really believe in himself. And a couple of years ago, I would have just been like, nah, you don't know what you're talking about. I think my self-belief is great. And I kind of would have just brushed it off. And I think that came to a point because of my lack of self-awareness in my belief in myself. I didn't really realize that my self-belief was so poor, as well as my self-talk and just negative thoughts about everything in life. Like other people, certain events just constantly swirled in my brain and just dropped my self-esteem so much lower. Not to mention, on top of all of this, good old masturbation, like I've talked about in a few videos now, that definitely did not help to the self-esteem either. When you're constantly doing that and allowing yourself to just have these thoughts of shame and whatnot, you add that on top of a low self-esteem, and you've got a pretty bad mentality, to be quite honest with you. And that's what I had. And it affected me in sports, like it affected me in school, it affected me in talking to girls. Like, you think I was going to be the guy to go and talk to a girl in person? Dude, hell no. You kidding me? I wouldn't even consider that shit. Like, the last thing I would do is go up to a girl in person and, like, talk to them, If I'm going to date anybody, like, rewind 2 years ago, I was going to do it over Snapchat or Instagram or fucking Tinder or something like that, I would never be the type of guy to go up to somebody and actually do that kind of stuff. That's how closed off to the idea of, like, in-person activities I was, and just socializing as a whole. I was so closed off to that. And all of those things, when you boil it down together, create a pretty miserable person. And that's who I was, a pretty miserable person. So going back to about April 2024, I might have been starting to pick up all these habits, but the one thing that hadn't changed was the mindset up here. And then we fast forward again to May, late May, to the very reason this YouTube channel started. If you haven't seen my first video, then I encourage you to go watch it. It'll fill you in on a lot of context. So, and you'll have an understanding of what I'm saying when I'm talking about this. But that same girl I talked about earlier who left the first few weeks of freshman year, I considered going back to. And that was a big mistake because, she obviously moved on at this point, and I had not. I was still holding on and was hoping to a degree that, there'd be some chance of me getting back in again. Obviously, that did not happen, as I talked about in that video. And that point right there, I feel like, was the point where I realized I needed to change. That moment right there, that short period of time, that build up to when I believed that I should go and talk to her again. All of that created the idea that I needed to change something within myself. That something that I was doing that I had believed, and the way I had just had my mentality for so long, something was wrong and something needed to change, and fast. Obviously that doesn't come fast, those mindset changes and whatnot, those take time to develop, and I didn't really realize that, but what I believed to be important was the fact that I needed to do something about my poor mentality. So that's what the summer became. And in fact, that's what this YouTube channel also helped with, as a means of me expressing myself, the dark thoughts I was feeling, like all the things I'd felt for so long that were so bottled up. That's why this channel even became a thing in the first place. I appreciate everybody who's been watching my videos and sticking around to hear me talk about the things I've dealt with and experienced in my time. Like, genuinely, it means a lot to me. And it's really helped me become more of a vulnerable person with other people, and more vocal, honestly, about the way I feel. Like, talking to a camera, sitting here and just talking to you guys about everything I've experienced and dealt with and am currently dealing with, like all of that has made a huge difference. And It slowly, all of that, like, helped me get to where I am today. Honestly, I'm not saying creating a YouTube channel is the reason why I'm happy, but let me tell you the first step in becoming happy, and that's being self-aware. If you're aware with your flaws and understand the things that are wrong with you that you can change, that is the greatest first step you can give to yourself. Like, genuinely, if you understand the things that you have wrong and that are in your fault and that you can change, that's an amazing feeling, honestly. Like, I bet a lot of you in your lives have at some point felt like something in life is happening to you. Well, let me tell you something. It's not happening to you. Whatever bad event in your life is happening for you. It's not happening to you. It's happening for you. And understanding that gives you so much more control and power over whatever that situation is, because you understand that this event is meant to happen to you to build you into a better person. You know? And all of that, like, back to the self-awareness thing, like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just like, you know that you can change. You know, you understand that you can become a better person. And you do everything in your power to do so. And that's what I did, honestly. I genuinely, like, through, like, YouTube videos, just personal experiences with people I was meeting, you know, like, I wanted to change. I was going to do everything in my power to do so. And that pretty much simply involved reversing all the things that before I said I wouldn't do. Like, socialize with new people. You know, first thing comes this second year of college, I get out there and meet some more people. And it was the greatest thing I could have done, because it made this year so much better and maybe a happier person. And you learn things from newer people. And you just become so much more open to more things. And you want to just be a better person, like, constantly. It's hard to describe it, honestly. But, like, when it happens to you, you'll understand. When the time comes for you, wherever bad position you're at, for you to become a better person, and you sense that, and you really feel the motivation to want to change, your time will come, trust me. It'll happen. In some way, shape, or form, and at some time, it will come in your life, and you have to believe that. There are things you can do to change. Whatever mentality you have, you don't have to sit on that. You don't have to feel that way, you know? If you have poor self-talk, reverse that, you know? What you gotta do is pinpoint all the good things about yourself, you know? Stop focusing on all the bad things about yourself and start thinking about the good things. And stop focusing on the bad things in life and start focusing on the good things. Because believe it or not, there's a lot more good things about life than bad. And once you see that, and once you become so much more clear and less brain fogged to that idea, you become so much happier, honestly. Like, you feel so much joy in just waking up, breathing the same air you breathe for the past, like, I don't know, however old you are, however many years. You become so grateful for that, and you just, like, you want to wake up every day, and you just have so much energy to do so much more than you ever believed that you could do, you know? Like, it's beautiful. It really is. Life is beautiful, man. Don't forget that. Life is going to be hard, for sure. Life is always going to be hard. But at the same time, that's what makes it beautiful, honestly. The fact that you get to feel and experience something shitty is beautiful, honestly. The fact that you get to feel anything at all is beautiful. The fact that you get to be here and sit on this earth, this beautiful earth, like, I'm not trying to be on some, like, tree hugger shit or anything, but, like, the fact that we exist, dude, the fact that we're here is crazy, and it's beautiful. And, you know, like, the chances of you being born were so goddamn slim, and you're here today, man. So, I mean, congrats to you, for real. If you're here today and, you know, you're living and you're trying to become a better person actively and become the best version of yourself possible, because believe it or not, each day you wake up, you're getting one little bit closer to becoming the best version of yourself. Every day you wake up, you're one step closer to becoming the best version of yourself. And coming to understand that and believe that is such a beautiful feeling, man. And I wish more people understood that, honestly. Not enough people do. And you know, coming to understand those things, like, that's genuinely what made me such a happier person. What made me want to wake up every day and just, like, live, you know? Like, and stop worrying about all the little things that don't matter, you know? Like, what people think of you and shit like that. It doesn't matter. None of that stuff actually matters in this world, bro. What matters is that you're happy, you're doing your thing, and you do what you love most. That's what's important. And that you get to cherish it and share that with all the people around you. You know, like, that's an incredible feeling, man. You should be thankful to even be able to experience some of that, man. To experience any of that, really. Because it's incredible. It really is. It really, really fucking is. And I want you all to understand that, genuinely. From the bottom of my heart, like, I really do. I want you to understand that. Because I'm sure there's plenty of you that are watching this video that don't. But really, take in what I'm saying and think about it. The world we live in, man, it's fucking incredible. It really is. The fact that we're here today, it's awesome, dude. The things that we have, the things that we see, like, all of that, dude. It's incredible. It really is. But that's all I got for you today. I hope you enjoyed, and if you don't subscribe this time, I hope to see you in the next one. So, peace out and stay blessed.